problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression, it's all that I wanted. The bow and affection, I summon and dumb it. Cause bitch, I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression, it's all that I wanted. The bow and affection, I summon and dub it. All of my dollars on quickly, so hit me them. All of my dollars on quickly. All of my dollars on quickly, so hit me them. All of my dollars on quickly. Minute, with your efforts, I'm you all no more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's special live meeting. It's tax day, so you are here to see Kris Krohn. I am not him. I'm going to be introducing him in just a moment. But you're here tonight to figure out how to never pay taxes again with this government-created loophole. My name is Ryan Holyoke, and I'm going to tell you how to get the most out of tonight's special meeting. First of all, take a quick screenshot of this slide. Past performance is no guarantee of future performance. We're going to be talking about some incredible numbers and results. We want to make sure you have all the information that you need. So if I were you, this is what I'd be doing to make sure that I get the most out of tonight's amazing opportunity with Kris. First of all, we go live tonight only, so don't miss out on this opportunity. Stay until the end. Make sure that you're in a distraction-free zone. Mute your cell phone. Find a way to take notes, jot down questions, things that you want for further detail on. Make sure that in the chat you're engaged. Ask your questions, comment. That's the best way to be able to take everything from this meeting that you need to take advantage of this specific loophole. If you are ready to interact, if you can bring the fun and the excitement and engage with Kris, I know you're gonna have an incredible, incredible meeting. Now, when I introduce Kris in just a moment, you're gonna recognize him. Many of you know him already. He gets millions of views on social media every single week. He was financially free at the age of 26, so this guy knows what he's talking about. Having made so many millionaires, he can guide you through the step-by-step processes that you need in order to take advantage of everything that this economy is throwing your way. He's transacted over 6,500 homes, $2 billion in single-family real estate. Again, this guy knows what he's doing. He's written 5 different books. He's a best-selling author. He's spoken on thousands of stage and hosted just as many live events. One thing that many of you might not know, though, is the passion that he has for being able to help people financially get to their next level. And if you can connect with Kris, get in his airspace, take advantage of his systems, his team, his specific game plan, you can figure out how to take everything from this tax season and make it work to your advantage. I am so excited tonight to introduce somebody that I consider to be a mentor, a brother, and somebody who can help you get to that next level. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Kris Krohn.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you here. Do me a favor, light up the chat. I want to hear from you. How are you doing? Tell me a little bit what's going on in your neck of the woods. Tell me where you're from. Tell me why you are registered here to be with me tonight. I just want to have Ethan hop on, read some of the comments, get a chance to hear from some of you. I'm actually just sitting here. I got this report on 50 properties that I'm selling right now that I bought in the last 5 years. And on average, I've made somewhere between $75,000 and $140,000 per home. So if you do the average on that on just these 50 homes right here, well, you can do the math on that. That's not a little bit of money, millions of dollars. And so tonight I want to share with you the secrets of how I'm doing this. I also want to share the secrets of how the wealthy all the way to the middle class actually stop paying taxes. So it is tax day. We are going to be doing that today, and we got a lot to cover. Eyes on screen, just thought I'd share with a couple of you guys a little bit what's been going on in my world. Across the board, I've been to Ukraine 3 times in the last couple of years with relief efforts and trying to save lives, bring food, resources to the people there. Been traveling the world with my kids, been doing some bodybuilding competitions, some hunting. Came out with a new book, Have It All. And my life is beautiful. There's a lot going on. I love my family, and I love the blessings that God's given me. This is a blessing for me because tonight I get to be a blessing to you. I hope that in our time together, our evening, that you're going to walk away with real practical application of step-by-step, what do I need to do in my life to get more of where I need to go? Tonight, I am going to talk about how to make 27 times more money in real estate than you would with like a 401k or IRA. But more importantly, I want to show you how to grow your income tax-free. What we're going to prove tonight is that you can outperform the market. And by the way, just go to the chat real quick. How you feeling anyway about the stock market the last couple of weeks? I mean, it's been volatile. My kids' paper trading accounts are literally down 30%. Yes, the stock market had its best days history, and they've done half recovery on that, but they're still down. And I don't know about you, but a lot of people are just sick and tired of the only methodology for someday getting ahead as well. Drop it in an IRA, put it in a 401k. You know, how much am I really going to make? Well, I know what the market tells you you're going to make, but I'm going to reveal the real stats tonight. All right. By the way, we got Morgan here that says, hey, I'm looking forward to finding out how to stop paying taxes. Morgan, I will not disappoint. Michael says, I'm pretty nervous, but I'm hopeful. And then Khalid said, after Trump tariffs, it was a disaster. And yet 75 countries are bowing down now, making deals with the government, bringing in $2 billion a day, which is almost $700 billion a year. Our country only makes $4 trillion a year, so that's a 20% increase in our income. So yeah, it's definitely turbid times. And if there's one thing I do want you to know is that while we hope for a better government, we hope for a better future, I don't know if we're going to have one unless you make it for yourself. Now, I do want to show you on how to not retire rich, but with a few million bucks. By the way, if you could have $3, $5, $7, $10 million of retirement in the next 20 years, not rich, but $5 million, how many of you would say that's enough to get the life that I want? And if that's a yes for you, drop a 4 in the chat. By the way, Melanie's saying, yeah, stock market is totally crazy right now. It has leveled out, but it's always been crazy anyway. And Melanie, you're 100% right. Getting a lot of yeses. And then Khalid says 100K is enough, dude. I don't know if 100,000 is enough for retirement if you like to spend 100 grand a year. But if you're talking about having $100,000 a month of reoccurring revenue, you would need approximately $3.1 million annuitized to produce $100,000 a year on just interest alone. So that's kind of where we're going tonight. So guys, let's talk about this. We're going to talk about what's happening, first of all, in the economy. We're going to talk about where the hidden opportunities are. And then I want to also then talk about how am I doing it in real estate and why am I not paying taxes? I'm going to give you numbers. So you're going to want to take notes, screenshots, and then of course we're going to have some ripping live Q&A with everyone here. Okay, let's just get some of the facts out of the way for where we are at in this country. 70% of Americans remain financially unhealthy. What do we mean by that? 70% of them are check to check. As of 2024, overall consumer debt hit an all-time high of $17.7 trillion. Money management's not going well, but part of that is because the government has not been managing us very well, because right now we've got inflation in just about every industry with price changes across the board. It really brings up the question, is retirement a reality? The average American believes they need $1.46 million, which would give them $81,000 a year for retirement. But the average American only has $254,000 in retirement. What does it mean? Well, you take the $254,000 off of the 1.4, we're short $1.2 million, which means we're only retiring on $29,000 a year. That's kind of poverty talk, but that's the average American dream right now. With 17 million Americans age 65 and older, only 1 in 3 are in a good spot. The rest are not. So here's the question. Can we actually rely on the government? As of January 2025, the federal government debt stood at $36 trillion. In 23, the U.S. government spent $1.35 trillion on just Social Security. So the U.S. government has set up more debt that can actually move with GDP. It gets worse. In 2024, the average Social Security payout was $1,900 a month or $23,000 a year. So if you look at this information, we're kind of in a scary place. Bottom line, depending on the age you're at, the whole idea of a 401k or an IRA creating financial future, it's not really doing it. And then this is the big one I wanted to show you. This is a stock market on the last 100 years. Adjusted for inflation, we are averaging 3.5%. Now, eyes on me for this one. I want to show you something. If inflation is hovering around 3% to 4%, and the stock market is averaging 3.5%, then basically all of your retirement is being washed away by inflation. which means we have to find a way to get some higher returns. Let me just ask you smart cookies out there. Go to the chat bar. How are we going to do it? Like, what's your plan? If the 401k isn't working, if the IRA isn't working, like, how are you going to do it? How are you going to take care of your family in retirement? Drop it in the chat real quick. I just want to actually see some of what you guys are thinking right now. Amy says, Kris, you are my plan. And Zachary says, real estate. Jesse says, real estate. Invest in some real estate. Digital leasing. So I got a number of you here that are like, okay, we got to buy assets. We got to do things different. Let me give you just a few more stats on this that I think will be helpful. Did you work 40 years to basically just retire barely above poverty? No, but this is what Americans think about the American dream. Right now in 2012, 13 years ago, 58%, 2/3 believed in the American dream. Today, 27%, not even a third of Americans, which means that American dream is not alive and well. But no matter what you learn tonight on these stats, I do want to make sure there's one thing you don't do. Don't wait or hope for things to get better, because right now the American dream, it's going downhill. It's up to you to create your American dream. So we're going to be looking at some saving money on taxes, how we do that in the first place. And I just want to show you some stats on taxes that most people are not aware of. The average income tax bracket is 14.9%. On 100K, that's $15,000 a year to taxes. Here's what the average tax bracket looks like. You will pay $524,000 in taxes in your working life on average. So by the way, if you're wondering, to the government, you're worth about $500,000. You're also costing us, of our $4 trillion of revenue, $1.3 trillion in Social Security. Here's a couple of scary stats. The U.S. government spent $6.8 trillion last year, but the government, the IRS, only brought in $4 trillion. So what does that mean? It means that we're short like $2.3 trillion. Imagine for just a moment if you were overspending on your income by 60%. That's what the government is doing. And listen, I am going to soapbox this for just a minute because I think this is just worth saying. Whether you're Republican or whether you're Democrat, can we all agree that we shouldn't spend money we don't have? We got $36 trillion of debt. We got $1 trillion going towards interest, and we only got $4 trillion of revenue. Why did Trump do the tariffs? He's trying to add another $1 trillion of revenue, because we're spending more money than we have. We're buying programs that we don't have, and right now everything is even more expensive. So overall, it's not a really great place. And Melanie's right. What about the young people that can't even afford a house? Melanie said she quit her IRA, her other accounts. Snacker said he's starting to do some options trading. So you guys are out there, you're looking for the solutions. Look at this one though. Doge isn't going to save us. They're going to try to help, but ultimately they're estimated to save us $150 billion a year. It matters, but it's not a lot of money. Let's take a look at the numbers that will make the difference. What I'm going to do right now is I want to show you how to win in this situation with a spoiler alert. If you could retire and beat this economy, how would that feel? I do it every single day, and it looks like this. If you take $50,000 and drop it into the stock market, 401ks and IRAs, and let's just say generously you average 6%, which by the way, you won't. Well, that $50,000 at 6% over 20 years, it triples. It grows into $160,000. Eyes on me. This is a problem. You're telling me that when I use the retirement system that has been given to me, every 20 years, my money triples? Well, I only have 40 years. What's my money going to do? 6X, and in the beginning, it starts with almost nothing? This is why you have $250,000 at retirement. That's a really big problem. So let's talk about how you do it different. Eyes on the screen. If I could show you how to take equity from your home or a 401k or an IRA and instead put it into real estate earning 25%, that same $50,000 over 20 years would turn into what? $4.3 million, not $160,000. Now, by the way, can you retire on $4.3 million? Yeah, a heck of a lot easier. So real estate can do this. Now, the truth is I'm not earning 25%. I'm earning a lot more than that, and I'll show you how you can do the same. But here's the crazy part. I'm at just 25%. You are outperforming the stock market 27-1. This is why 90% of millionaires make it in the game of real estate, not through the stock market. Now, real quick, what are you learning? Go to the chat real quick, because I'm going to get to the taxes and the money and how all this works. But what are you picking up that I'm dropping right now? I want to know what your gold nuggets are. Melanie says there's too much fraud and money laundering in our government. Doge is finding that, and he's trying to get it where it needs to go. Snacker says, How can we buy property with having much capital? Snacker, we're going to talk about that as well. Jesse says, real estate beats the stocks 27-1. Jesse, 100%. So, by the way, guys, this is highly interactive tonight. Would you do me a favor? I want all of you to be lighting up the chat because I'm recognizing your names. And tonight I'm looking for a handful of people that I'm actually going to turn into multimillionaires in the game of real estate. And so I'm looking for my active seekers. Like, I just want to tell you, Melanie, you're on it right now. I love the way that you're participating. I love the way that you're showing up. Daniel's iPad says, how to tap equity when you have low credit or when you don't have retirement. We're going to talk about that one as well. Michael's saying he likes this. Thank you very much. And David says we need a plan to take advantage of the real estate opportunity. So I will be giving you that exact precise plan tonight. Bottom line, though, check it out. Eyes on the screen. If I compare the traditional retirement to real estate, the red line, which doesn't look super impressive compared to the green line, that $4.3 million, that's what happens when you buy one house. Now, I want to ask a weird question tonight. It won't apply to everyone here. I want you to go to chat on this one. If you could tap into the equity in your home or a 401k or IRA or a neighbor, a friend, or a family member, how many of you could come up with a $50,000 down payment on a property if it was an amazing deal and could make amazing money? Like if your life depended on it. This right here, this is 50 G's in $100,000 Benjamins. Do you have $50,000 in a 401k and IRA? If you do, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat because I want to tell you something. Right now I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so for those that are coming in right now, those of you that are dropping a 1 in the chat, you have the ability to buy a property. You have the ability to earn at least a 25% ROI. And in 20 years, you can turn that into $4.3 million. End of story. And there's even a way to make it totally turnkey. So I just want to let you know it's out there and it's real. Now, for those of you that are watching and you're like, well, what if I don't have 50K? Then you especially want to pay attention because I'm going to offer everyone a gift tonight. I call it a wealth plan, where me and my advisors will get on the phone with you in the next day or two and step-by-step show you how you start from nothing and get somewhere. In fact, in a moment, I'll show you one way of doing it, exactly how my wife and I did it. Now, some of you are going to wonder, what if I want to go faster? What if I don't want to wait 20 years? Well, the truth is I am earning an average appreciation of 32% year over year on my real estate. Do you know what $50,000 does at 32%? It turns into $12 million in 20 years. What does that mean? Well, it means that you're not out. It means that you have to find a way to get in the game of real estate. That's a 75-1 outperformance, people. And I've got 23 years of data on 6,500 homes and $2 billion of real estate to prove it. So now you can look at these curves, and the red line is, what most people are doing with retirement. The green line is what happens when you're earning 25%. The blue line is what happens when you earn 32%. It's only 7% more, but it's compounding. And Albert Einstein said the greatest financial invention ever of our day and age was compound interest. All right. Well, if you'd like to see some proof, you're like, okay, Kris, you're telling me that there's hands-off turnkey real estate deals out there that produce at least a 25% ROI? Yeah, let me show you some. This is a property producing 37% in Orlando. By the way, the person that owns this with me does not live in Florida. This one right now is in Memphis. It's earning 31.86%. The investor that found me on YouTube that attended an event like this and became my partner, and I did this deal with them, they don't live in Tennessee. And here's another one in Central Florida earning 40%. My partner does not live in Florida. It's just passive and turnkey to them. Well, if you're wondering how I have all this information, I did not start with a silver spoon in my mouth. I did not start wealthy. I did not start with money. I started poor. And in fact, I've got my wife here kind of sitting across the table with me. Honey, come over here and just wave real quick anyway. Just come over here real quick. So, by the way, this is my incredible and wonderful wife. This is Colleen. How you doing?
I'm good.
Here, have a seat.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
So she hates it.
I was not planning on being on the mic today.
She hates it when I do this, but I want to show them this dorky picture of us right here, okay?
We haven't changed at all, have we?
Yeah, we've changed a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was a while ago, 20-something years ago.
Yeah, my wife and I saved up $3,300 for a 3% down payment on that cheesy little house that you see right there. Let me tell you something about that. That house, we bought it for $3,300, rented the basement, and the basement rent paid us to live in that house for free. Then we used the equity in that house to buy this one that you see right here, the city over in Pleasant Grove. I bought that house as a steal of a deal, rented it out, made $600 a month, and then I used the equity in that house to buy this third house. These 3 houses combined had over $200,000 worth of equity, and it only took $3,300 to do this. So, Clint, I just want to ask you real quick. When we bought our first house, how'd you feel about it?
I'm scared. I was 21, so scared.
Yeah,
but
you were nervous.
going with faith.
When we bought our second house, how'd you feel about it?
Really scared.
Really scared. But something happened a couple months after we bought it. What happened?
Well, we started getting cash flow. I was just scared that it wasn't gonna, that the repairs would be too much and then it wasn't gonna rent.
Yeah, and after we got it rented out, we were making $600 a month on it.
And I felt better. And then I was like, ooh, let's do it again.
Okay, so you went from,
but
I
that
don't know,
third-
to we should do this again.
That third house right there, that's the one we brought our first baby home to, just so you guys know.
Yep, that's where our family started.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you get out of here.
Okay.
Thank you, Clint, for hopping in. My wife is amazing to support me and to be here, and she'll be riding with us through the night. But she's been with me all the way from the beginning. And part of what I'm demonstrating here is what's called house hacking. House hacking is where you use a tiny amount of money on a 3% down payment. You buy a house, then you use the equity in that house later to buy your next house, the equity in that house to buy your next house. And before you know it, you're making all this money in the game of real estate. All right, now just a couple of comments here. Ethan, as you're there with the mic, I would love to just have you help keep me up on the comments because I'm showing everyone how a little bit of money turned into a lot of money. Well, I got some people here that are like, I got $50,000 in equity or an IRA. Help me put it passively into real estate and grow wealth. But I've got others here that are like, I don't got money. And I'm like, cool, then watch this game plan because this is how I did it. Ethan, what kind of comments are you seeing right there?
Yeah. First of all, we got a lot of comments saying you guys look great, beautiful couple. So
Thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah.
And then we do have a lot of people who are saying, you know, I need help tapping into equity. How do I structure that?
Yeah.
I don't want just to be another normal person.
Yeah.
12 million would secure my autistic child. That would be an enormous answer to prayers.
I just want to say real quick, can you find the comment who that was? Because my wife and I are second of 4 children. He has autism. He was quite severe, and my wife and I had a motivation to build wealth because we wanted to find a way to take care of our son.
Yeah, that was from BB and MB.
BB and MB. Well,
yeah.
I just want to say I get it. For the last years, my son has had a personal helper in our home that helps him understand the world because he has a million questions a day. He doesn't understand how a lot of things work, but it's been a blessing for my wife and I to be able to take care of him, and having success is one of those things that motivates that. So thank you for sharing that. All right, guys, eyes on the screen. After I bought my first 3 homes, my father-in-law said, you know what? This looks like it's working. Maybe you're not so dumb and crazy. And said, how about I use money from my equity and my 401k and we buy homes? We bought several homes together. And after I bought 5 homes with him, I now had at that time I had 9 homes. I'm in college and I'm like, I want more homes. How do I go faster? And that's when I realized that there were other people out there with 401ks and equity in their home. We could partner up together. I could do all of the work. We could earn these really high ROIs. And by the time I graduated college, I had 5 partners and I had 25 properties. They were paying me $12,000 a month. That was enough money for me to quit my job. That was enough money just coming out of college to say, I don't ever have to work again for the rest of my life if I don't want to. So what I want to share is I then created a track record where we did this on thousands of homes, 6,500 single family homes. There's a report that I published that I'm going to send to everyone tonight if you would like one. This report will show you thousands of my last addresses. It'll show you the system. It'll show you the proof. And it'll show you exactly how to do this. By the way, comment says, I can get $3,300 saved to start. Perfect. Dennis says, I got low credit score, but I do have equity. We'll talk about your situation. And then also iPhone says, y'all are awesome. Great teamwork. Single and looking for a way to help my nieces with college, serve on missions, foster kiddos. And I love that iPhone 127. Ann, thank you. I really love that about you. Okay, so we're getting definitely on the right side of the. Also, by the way, is that amount you're showing $12,000, including maintenance? Yes, that's $12,000. Actually, it's $12,500 that I was making after all repairs, all vacancies, all everything. So that was just net to me. Now, put this up, Josh. I want to show you all. My wife and I, that first house that you see, that was the first house we bought in. Today, I live in a 35,000 square foot home. It's beautiful. I thank God for it. It's probably too excessive, but I bring people into my world and home all the time. My 19-year-old daughter just got married. We held a reception in my home. And I feel very blessed that I've been able to do some pretty extraordinary things in life. Now my game is really simple. How do I help as many people as possible duplicate what I've gotten. And guys, I went a little overboard. I mean, I own 2 jets. I've been able to own some amazing vehicles and travel to 50 different countries. And I've been to the Holy Land. And I thank my Lord Jesus Christ for all the blessings that I have in my life. And like, I have everything that I need. So where's my next game? My next game is in helping you. My family is my everything, but my partners are my next everything. And what I'm doing is helping them build multi-million-dollar businesses. So this was about me. What about 2025? Is it still possible? Am I really running the same play that I have for the last 23 years? Can I do this for you? Also, just thank you, Ann, for he is the reason. Amen. I agree 100%. Thank you. And thank you, Jesus. And I have to give him glory because I'm nothing. I will tell you that when I was 19 years old, I was going to go serve a mission for my church. And I was in the ocean with my family vacationing, and my sister had gone too far into the ocean. This is in Portland, Oregon, in Cannon Beach. And I went in after my sister. It was a really bad stormy day, and I swam out to her after she had gone too far. A riptide had pulled her out, and I could not swim her in. And we were getting pulled out to sea, and she was tired, and I could not. I'm 6'4", and my sister is 6'2". I was having a hard time holding her up, and I prayed that day. I prayed to be saved, and my prayer was answered. A large non-rolling wave came in and carried me and my sister all the way till we could stand waist high. It was such a miracle. My mom thought that I'd saved my sister's life, but the truth is my life was saved that day. And every day since, I've been on borrowed time. And so I thank God for my life. I thank him for my blessings. I also have like endless motivation to live the very best life that I possibly can. And I love helping people. I have 2,000 partners that all have anywhere from 1 home to dozens of homes. Many of them have become millionaires and multimillionaires. And right now, all I'm doing is helping find my next 10 or 20 partners to just replicate the system and run the play and help them do the exact same thing. By the way, Snaker says, family helps us do something in life, 100%. And Jesse says, God works wonders. Thank you, 100%. So let's start talking about you guys. I wanted to just give you a little background because most of you have been following me for years, but some of you maybe just met me. Let's put this up on the screen and let's talk about you. There's some key information that I want you to know. Interest rates, they're not dropping fast. Trump promises in the next couple of years to get them to 3%, but a smart investor knows how to buy real estate regardless of rates. And that's what I'm going to teach you how to do tonight. You also need to be aware that we are missing 4.5 million homes. And you can't have a real estate crash until you eat through that inventory. It's going to take us a decade. So $50 billion of corporate funds and hedge funds have put their money into owning single family because they see the trend for the next decade. You are going to be a happy human being. Like I said, eyes on me on Josh. It's too small to kind of show you the data here, but this is 50 homes that I'm listing right now that I bought with my partners 5 years ago.
The presentation and reopen it. It should be right there.
Okay. What slide would that be on?
Let's see.
Just give me the number and I'll pop it up here so we can show everybody.
Let me find it real quick.
Guys, what I'm going to show you is 50 properties that I bought with my partners 5 years ago. I'm listing and selling them for an average of $110,000 of profit on each one of them.
So slide 1, 2, 3.
Okay, let me pull this up for you guys real quick. All right. I'm actually just not seeing it, Ethan, so it's okay. We've got to keep hustling though. There's my story. There we go. Okay, great. Okay, so but I can have my team send it out to you, but I've got basically the address on these 50 homes. Real quick, type that into the calculator. What's 50 times $110,000? That's the profit that I have on just 50 homes. And guys, like we own a lot of real estate. We've done over 6,500 deals. That's $5.5 million that I've made just probably 20 partners on those 50 homes. Let me just ask you real quick. Imagine that you met me 5 years ago and we, bought 2 or 3 homes and now we're cashing out and making $350,000. What am I going to do with that? I'm going to sell those 3 homes and trade them for 7. And in 5 years, I'm going to trade those 7 for 15 or 20. And what happens over 20 years is you end up having a portfolio of 30 or 40 homes. It's worth millions of dollars. You get positive cash flow on all of them. You never have to worry about money again for the rest of your life. By the way, if you want to, You can do this alone. I'll show you how to do that. But anyone that partners with me, how many of you want to make the most money being totally passive as my partner? Some people love that I go 50-50. Some are like, nah, I just want to do it myself. But if you can make millions of dollars having me do it for you, drop a 4 in the chat if that's even intriguing to you. I'm just kind of curious. And I'm getting Vince saying, dude, I wish I was your partner 5 years ago. Getting a lot of 4s lighting up in the chat here from Dominion, Brian, John, Jessica, CJ, etc. Michelle, Jesse. So tonight, I'm going to share with you how that's a possibility. But the bigger thing is, I want you all to walk away with a game plan. How do you, in your life, where you sit right now financially, level up your game? Because I'm going to give all of you an opportunity later to just get that perspective for free. Let me actually ask you that question. If I could put my shoes into your shoes and say, all right, let's just say that I'm Dorothy, or Terrence or Jesse or Scott that just opted in. Let's just say I said, hey, what if I took an hour with you and showed you exactly what I would do if I were you and showed you in 20 years how to retire with $5 to 10 million bucks? That's what I call a financial game plan, and I give it to people for free. If you would like that, type a 1 in the chat, just so I can kind of see who would be interested in right now, because I know some of you are stuck. Some of you want to go faster, but you're looking for where do you go to get the help. All right. So there's several of you, except Steven gave me a 2, and I'm not exactly sure what that means. I'm going to call that a fat finger moment. I have them as well. Like the phone's only so big, and I'm 6'4", so I got big fingers. All right, check it out. Let's kind of go into, there's some key information that I want to give you here. Here's where we paused. Eyes on the screen. 4.5 million missing homes. The next decade in single family is going to be insane. And when there's high demand and low supply, it forces prices higher. If you're wondering, are prices going to keep going up? Here's what I promise you. As Trump, over the next 2 years, lowers rates to keep his promise to 3%, I can promise you real estate is going to soar. How much? I don't know. But if I had to guess, I think your average single-family home in the next 5 years is going to go up $100,000 again. You won't feel the difference in payment because rates are going to be significantly lower, and that would follow Trump's track record that he's going for. There's a lot of uncertainty in the U.S. economy. The stock trading is up and down. Tariffs have been announced. Massive government cuts that could lead to a recession. Everyone's worried, but here's what you should be excited about. There's not enough houses to meet the current demand. Homes bought below the median protect against a crash, and it provides a hedge from the stocks and public opinion. So eyes on me. Here's what I want you to ultimately walk away with right now. Warren Buffett, Zuckerberg, Musk, smartest human beings on the planet, Donald Trump. These people cannot tell you when the stock market will go up and down. They can tell you decisions that will hurt it. They can tell you things they hope will make it go up, but no one can read it. And the 100-year average is what? Adjusted for inflation, 3.54%. Real estate, on the other hand, only 2 out of every 5 recessions includes a real estate bust. So while we're going to have uncertainty for the next decade, real estate will not. Real estate, rates will come down, prices are going to skyrocket, and if you own real estate, you're going to win. And for those of you that just want me to do it for you, I'm going to share with you how you'll make more money with me than on your own. And you can also do it on your own, right? So here's where we're going tonight. How do you make money in real estate with your extra tax savings that I'm going to be showing you? And how do you use 401ks and IRAs and home equity to buy real estate? And how do you buy real estate if you don't have money? Before I can tell you the tax benefits, we got to start here. Do you even know why people invest in real estate? There are 7 reasons why you want to own real estate as the #1 asset class for a safe and secure financial future. And I want to start by asking this. Some of you tonight are real estate fans. Some of you are not, because you're just not sure yet. So I want to just poll the audience. Type a 1 in the chat if you're like, I know real estate is the game. Type a 2 in the chat if you're like, I'm not exactly sure if real estate's the game. Just tell me where you're at, because I don't want to preach to the choir. Jeez, I'm preaching to the choir. Steven, you did it again. You gave me a 3. You gave me a 2 last time. 3 was not an option. Now I am convinced you have a super, like you've got dysmorphia on that finger. Like it's fat. You cannot punch the right number. That's okay though. I still love you. All right. Let's go into the 7 reasons why real estate. I am messing with you for fun. 90% of millionaires did it in the game of real estate, and here's the 7 reasons. Since most of you love real estate, except for Morgan is not quite sure. Morgan, I'm going to see if in just 3 minutes I can convince you why the real estate investment is always going to beat the stock market hugely. Here are the 7 reasons: appreciation, cash flow, leverage control, tax benefits, market resilience, it's passive, and then you have interest. We're going to talk about all 7 of these real quick, and then afterwards, I'm going to show you how to not pay taxes. By the way, if you're kind of excited about that one, I know some of you are here for that. I promise I will not let you down. Here we go. Appreciation. If you buy a $200,000 home, and by the way, I have 5 markets only where I buy real estate in the entire United States that perform the best. In 2 of those markets, my average price is $200,000. So if you're like, man, where do you even get a $200,000 home? I'll show you. So if you take a $200,000 home and let's say it appreciates at 5% a year. What's 5% of 200,000? It's 10 grand. So every house you own, like this scenario, increases your net worth $10,000 a year. Well, imagine that you owned 20 homes. That's $200,000 a year. You do that for 5 years, that's $1 million. 20 houses owned for five years, you just automatically are worth $1 million more. And you don't have to work. You don't have to do anything. It just is. Here's the second benefit, cash flow. When you buy the right kind of real estate, you collect the rent, you pay the mortgage, and there's leftover money. Eyes on me, I want to show you this real quick. Did you know that there are markets in the United States where one $200,000 house maybe has rents of $1,200 a month, and there's a different market in the United States where the same $200,000 home produces rents of $1,600 a month? Did you know that? Did you know that rents aren't created equal? Did you know that if you go and take your money to certain markets, that you make way more cash flow? Put a 3 in the chat if you actually knew that. Put a 2 in the chat if you didn't, and then we'll see what Steven puts. I'm guessing a 4. I'm not really sure. But check this out. There's several of you that are aware of this, but there's a ton of you that are not. It's pretty split on this one. So take me back to the slides, Josh. Cash flow, that we're talking about positive cash flow. It's a residual income. In fact, bring your eyes back to me on this one. I want to show you. I got $50,000 here. If you got 50 G's stuck in a 401k or an IRA or home equity, and let's say I help you put that into a home. Well, we're going to collect rent, we're going to cover the mortgage, and you're going to have hundreds of dollars left over. That's called a positive cash flow. If you own enough homes through time, you're going to have a big enough positive cash flow that you have all the money that you need and you replace your job. But I'm also going to show you how that positive cash flow becomes tax-free. That's a really big, selling point here. Okay, here's reason number 3, eyes on the screen. Leverage control. Did you know that banks love to give you money for real estate? They want you to put anywhere from 3% to 20% down. Banks will give you the rest of the money. Why is that a big deal? Because it will increase your ROI by a factor of 5. Eyes on me. This is still important. I want to show you this. Do you remember how I told you that $200,000 house that appreciates at 5%? 5% of $200,000 is what? It's this. This is $10,000 in Benjamins. This is what your house grows every single year just by owning it. But if you're using leverage, you're not actually, when you calculate the ROI, because the bank is putting up 80% of the money, you're actually getting 5 times higher ROI because you're making money on the bank's money, not your money. You have very little exposure. That leverage is how I produce the ROIs. And I'm just going to drop a little secret right here because I haven't said it yet. Does anyone want to guess what my average annual ROI is on my last 2,000 properties? I've been talking about 25% tonight. Drop it in the chat if you actually know. I've been talking about appreciation being 32%. So Snaker got that. Does anyone know? Amy does. Colin does. Guys, 60.65% is my average ROI. It's insane. And that's on 2,130 documented rentals in a document that I can send out to all of you tonight. This is insane. That's wild, except I've been doing it for 23 years, and it's because I'm teaching you a very precise real estate strategy. It's not just real estate is good. Real estate isn't good. There's just one niche inside of real estate that I really believe in. Okay, here's benefit number 4, eyes on screen. Tax benefits. You get to depreciate the home. I will show you the math of depreciation. It's enough to make your positive cash flow tax-free and start reducing your income on paper. Number 5, we're going to talk about market resilience, which is I buy my real estate below the median. My average purchase price is $250,000. When the real estate market does go down, $1 million homes get hammered. $500,000 homes get hammered. $250,000 homes do not get hammered. Take a look at 2008, the worst crisis. I didn't lose any of my real estate. Why? Because I have a strategy that protects us from up and down markets. All right. Benefit 6 of 7. It's passive, baby. Like, go do your family. Have a career. Spend time with your loved ones. Travel. But don't actually think that this type of business I'm presenting to you is active, because it's not. It's super passive. And number 7, we're going to talk about how much ROI you make, because there's 4 different ROIs on every real estate deal. And I'm going to teach them in just a little bit. But I want to pause for just a moment, because I'm about to jump into the tax game, but I got to get some feedback. What are you figuring out? What are you hearing? What are you learning? We are going to do Q&A later. But right now, I just want to kind of hear from you. What are you picking up? What are you learning about in the game that we're talking about tonight that's useful for you as we dive in deeper? Steve, by the way, has a great question. He says, what about house maintenance? When we get to Q&A, Ethan, let's hit that one, because I build that into the game and that's covered. Most of my homes are new anyway, so we just don't have those problems. All right. Is it that particular for the last 5 years at 60%? No, that's over the last decade at 60%. And it's even higher the decade previous, but not by much. It's very, very similar. So it's about 60% for the last 20 years. We're getting some great questions coming in. CJ says, buy below the median. CJ, super smart. In the 2008 crisis, $1 million home became a $500,000 home. $500,000 home became a $300,000 home. $300,000 home became a $220,000 home. But 220 became 180, and 180 became 170. Below, I buy my average home 30% below the median, so I go into the safest range of entry-level real estate. Daniel and Kim has given me a whoa, and Vince says, if we partner, does that mean that I have ownership to the property too? Of course. We're owning real estate together, creating tax benefits together, creating cash flow together. And Morgan says, this could be possible for me. All right. So it looks like we're picking up some cool things. Now we're going to go next level cool. What I'm about to give you is super advanced. And I'm going to show you some numbers. So some of you get intimidated by numbers. Don't get intimidated. Let me show you this. How much real estate do you need to buy to never have to pay taxes again? If you want to know the answer to that question for you, type a 5 in the chat. Just kind of curious. Guys, this is meat and potatoes stuff right now. We're going to go super advanced right now, okay? How come I didn't pay taxes for the first 7 years of being an investor? I'm going to give you a scenario here. I do recommend screenshots. If you're over 50 years old, you would use your cell phone and take a picture. If you're savvy on your computer, you're going to, hit the code, and then it's going to screenshot for you. And what I want to do is I want to tell you about a client of mine. His name is Eric. He's married. He's an engineer, makes $122,000 a year. And this is the investment property he decides to buy. He buys it from me as my partner. It's in Memphis. It's got a 30% ROI. Everything makes sense on this house. Now, why will Eric stop paying taxes? Here's the math that I need you to know. And it's not much, but I want you to follow along. I'm going to go slow here. And if I go too fast, I want you to go to the thread and tell me. Let's just say that this house rents for $1,600 a month, but there's only a $1,000 a month mortgage. So there's $600 of positive cash flow. We have to subtract out the cash flow, the expenses on the property, which is $200 a month. So this property is actually producing $400 a month times 12 months. That's $4,800 a year. So far, we're just talking about, I rent this house, I have $400 that I get to keep left over every month, and after a year of doing this, I got $4,800 that this house paid me. If we're good so far, will you do me a favor and type a 2 in the chat? If you're confused, type a 1, because I don't want to lose anyone on where we're going here. I got a couple of confused. So, okay, so slow down. So put your eyes back on me. I want to make sure you guys get this. I got 3 of you that are a little confused here, so I want you to follow along with me. Ready? We're going to say this is a house, okay? My Perrier bottle. Let's say that this house costs $250,000. Here's the cash. I just bought this house for $250,000. Now I'm going to rent it out. And because of the down payment and everything, my mortgage is $1,000 a month. So I got to pay the bank $1,000 a month to upkeep this. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense so far. Thumbs up on the screen, everybody. You with me? Okay, check it out though. I'm not renting it for my mortgage. I'm renting it for more. It rents for $1,600. So I'm collecting $1,600. What's the first thing I'm going to do with the money? Mouth it to me. I'm going to pay my mortgage. Well, there's $600 left over. This is what my wife said. After I bought my second house, she's like, there's $600 left over every month. And she had been getting this for 3 months. I said, what are you doing with the money? She's like, I'm paying off the credit card. So she was thrilled. We have $600 a month of positive cash flow. But eyes back on the screen. I have $200 a month of expenses for this particular property management and et cetera. So I'm really netting $400 a month, which for 12 months of an entire year is $4,800. We should all be pretty caught up. Now, check it out. The government lets me write this property off over 27 and a half years. This is called depreciation, and you can do this on the house that you own, and you can do this on all houses that you own. So, can you move my pip to the other side, Josh? So we have a purchase price on this house, let's say of $335,000. I'm going to take my purchase price, I'm going to divide it by 27 and a half, and it tells me that every year the government will actually let me depreciate or write off $12,181 against my income. What does that mean? Well, here's the math. $335,000, the value of the home divided by 27 and a half years equals $12,000 a year that you get to write off. Now, here's what happens. I'm going to take that 12 grand and I'm going to put it against my positive cash flow of 4,800. And there's $7,300 left over. What does it mean? Look at the bottom. $4,800 of cash flow is now tax-free. And then I have $7,300 left over that I'm going to put against my income. Now, what does that mean? Eyes here. Eric makes $122,000 of income. He gets to take $7,000 off of that. He gets to keep the money, but the government says that's not 122, that's 115. It lowers his taxes. It might even lower his tax bracket. I'll show you exactly by how much. Eyes up here. How much does this property reduce taxes by? Well, if we take the $7,300 remaining off of Eric's $122,000 income, now his income only looks like $114,000. Not only is the $4,800 of positive cash flow tax-free, but now Eric's income looks $7,300 less in the eyes of the government, which lowers his taxes. Bottom line, before I show you the big numbers, every investment property you buy increases your income in the form of tax-free, positive cash flow, and reduces your taxable income that you're making on your job. Let me pause, because now I'm about to go ultra advanced. What are you guys hearing? What are you learning? Make a comment. I just want to make sure we're all clear. By the way, iPhone says, are these even real home prices? Yes, these are based on actual deals that I am doing. Thank you. Actually, Xavier says that. He says, yeah, these are actually based on that. So Anthony Williams is giving me this. Amy's giving me an all good. Can everyone else give me a thumbs up or an all good, or just say we're following you? I just don't want anyone to get lost tonight, because taxes is usually kind of a complicated thing. Okay, all good. Okay, so eyes back on the screen. Let's go deeper. How much real estate does Eric need to buy to stop paying taxes? Check this out. You stop paying taxes if married and filing jointly once you make less than $31,000 a year. That's just the way the tax code works. Eric's income puts him in a federal tax bracket of paying 24%. He lives in California, so he also has state taxes of 7%. So Eric is paying 31% out the door. This is his largest tax bill, and with his income, it's $37,000 a year. Now, how much real estate would Eric need to buy to stop paying taxes? Well, check it out. Here are the two assumptions. Each house that Eric gets is going to produce an average of $5,000 of tax-free positive cash flow, and we're going to say that each house allows him to depreciate $12,000 a year. The first $5,000 will go towards the positive cash flow to make it tax-free, and the next $7,000 will go against his income. Can everyone just do a drum roll for me real quick on your table? Make a little bit of sound. Get a little excited. Here's the big reveal. Here we go. And thank you. Thank you. I love that. Dude, you're playing the drums big, bro. 13 homes. When Eric gets his portfolio to 13 homes, watch what happens. He's making $5,000 a year per property. That's $65,000 of new tax-free annual income every single year. But the 13 homes each have a remaining $7,000 of deduction. That's $91,000 of write-offs every year. $91,000 of write-offs against his income, puts his income now on paper at $31,000, drops his family below taxable income. Now here's the punchline. Eric's new income is $122,000 from his job plus $65,000 from real estate for a total of $187,000. But on paper only makes $31,000 and never pay taxes again. Here's the crazy part. You guys want to know where this gets wicked? Eric's new federal tax bracket, making $187,000, should be 32% plus state taxes. He should be paying 39% in annual taxes. But Eric should be paying $72,900. But he's not. He's got $72,000 in savings every year. I wonder what he could do. Go to the chat. What should Eric do every year with the $72,000 he's not giving to the government? What should he do every year? He should buy more real estate, an extra house every year. Now, I saw Jessica say that you're lost. I respect it. I get it. But Jessica, in a moment, I'm going to give you an opportunity to sign up for a free game plan with my team. And we're going to make sure that you get all of this information and that you know how to implement it. I guess here's the big picture that I'm really saying. When I buy my property for a certain amount of money, I get to depreciate it. That depreciation comes always. By the way, if you buy a piece of property, any piece of property under $1 million, all of the positive cash flow will always be tax-free. That is always true, 100%. All cash flow you don't pay taxes on. Number two, there's leftover write-offs. You drop it against your income, and then all of a sudden you pay less taxes on the money from your job. That's the bottom line. So for someone here that says, okay, so Kris, I make $122,000 a year. Are you saying when I get up to 13 homes, I don't pay taxes? Yeah, more or less, that's what I'm saying. And so maybe you're sitting there saying, well, I only make $80,000 a year. Then it's probably like 8 or 9 houses. And if you're saying I make $250,000 a year, no, then it's probably more like 25 houses. The bottom line is every house you buy is more or less going to save you about $10,000 between the new money that you're making and the money that you're not paying in taxes. That's the bottom line. If that makes sense, type a 4 in the chat. If I lost you a little bit, put a 3 in the chat, and then let's see what Steven's going to do. Okay, I'm getting some 3s, 4s. Amy's got a 4. Got some 4s. Jacob's got a 4. Who does your taxes? A CPA, just someone that knows real estate. Terrence is a 4. iPhone's a 3. Jessica's a 3. So what I'm getting is that a lot of us got it. Some of us didn't. And what I want you to know is I got you. I'm going to make sure that you get the help that you need tonight. Let's consider this, though, a really strong introduction that bottom lines this way. Every time you buy real estate, you pay less in taxes. And every time you buy real estate, you get more tax-free income. That's really the big bottom line that I want you to get so far for where we're at, okay? Now, Simone has a question about, are you doing this in person? Is it an LLC? Is it trust? It doesn't matter. You actually get the same tax exemption on all 3 of those statuses. Doesn't matter. All right. So I want to show you guys something real quick. I'm going to put this out on the screen, and then I want to just tell you guys how I can help you tonight. By the way, I bought this very first home like I showed you earlier. I waited 12 months, pulled the equity out to buy the second house. I used the second house, pulled the equity out to buy the third house. And this house hacking allowed me to increase my net worth to $200,000 as a student at university. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. And so really what we're talking about here is we're talking about a new system for money. Bottom line is people that are wealthy own real estate. And most of them got wealthy by buying real estate. That's a huge take-home message. Ethan, if you'll keep cataloging the questions, we're going to pause soon for a Q&A break. But before I do, I promised all of you something. I promised that I would give every one of you an opportunity tomorrow or the day after to talk to my team and do a free game plan. And they're basically going to put themselves in your shoes. They're going to say, if Kris Krohn were you, here's what he would do to become a multimillionaire. And then how many of you would be interested in actually working with me and having me build your multimillion-dollar portfolio? If that's interesting to you, drop a 2 in the chat. And for Morgan and CJ and Snacker and Vonda and Devin, guys capture these. iPhone, Ashton. Okay, so for all of you, Kate, Damian, Chris, Sheila, or if it's Shayla, I apologize. Steven, like Daniel, for those of you that are like, I want a free game plan, I'm going to give you the opportunity to get it right now. Here's what you do. Eyes on the screen. If you'd like a custom game plan, let me describe what a game plan is first of all. On the left, I did a game plan for Matt. He has a 401k, an IRA, a half paid off house, and he was on track to have about $500,000 in retirement. I showed him in 5 years how to turn that into $18 million. Julie Renson doesn't have any money. I showed her a 20-year game plan to get $4.3 million. And Carson had a little home equity. He's got some crypto saved up. And I showed him how to get to 6 figures of passive income. That's what a game plan is. Now, if you'd like to get a game plan, guys, go to the chat right now. Xavier, if you can drop the link, Ethan, livegameplan.com. It's right there if you guys look. Go to livegameplan.com. You're going to click on it right now, and we're just going to answer 8 or 10 questions, and then I can give every one of you a game plan. And I'm going to do even a live game plan tonight with one of you. So click the link right now, open it on your phone or type it in, and here's all you're going to do. We're going to fill it out together. Just drop in your contact information, first name, last name. Please use a real name because when I call you, it'd be a little embarrassing if it wasn't your real name. Put in your email, your phone number so that I can contact you and give you this gift. The next thing I want you to do is answer these 10 questions. What is your job title? It's like, do you have a job, or what's your household, job title, or if your spouse has a job? What's your annual income? What is it jointly? Whatever the total annual income is. Doesn't matter whether you make a lot of money or a little money. I started with making $18,000 a year. Next, what's your credit score? We will often never use your credit, but I'm kind of curious because you open up different options on whether you do have usable credit or not. So good or bad doesn't really make a difference to me. The next question is a hard one. A little bit of thinking power. How much do you have in financial assets that could potentially go into real estate? And here's what I want you to add up. If you were taking a look at what you have in savings, a 401k, IRA, or the stock market, life insurance, or crypto, just give me that total. It's like, well, I've got $6,000 in crypto, I think, and I've got $20,000 in a 401k. Okay, there's $26,000. So whatever that adds up to, drop that number there. And then here's your last 4 questions. Do you own a home or rent? Because if you own, just tell me what you think it's worth. Well, I'm not really sure. Ballpark it. Well, I think it's like $500,000. Cool, put that in. Next, what do you think you own on your house? Well, I just bought it last year, so I think I owe like $480,000. Or I've had it for 10 years. I owe, $310,000. And then lastly, just put a yes on the last 2 questions, meaning if you're selected to do a live game plan with Kris, you have to say yes that you want that. And if you want my coach to call you and give you a free game plan, you got to select yes. And then you hit submit. Now, if you've done this with me and you're complete, drop a 4 in the chat just so I can wait long enough for everyone to have a chance to do this. Okay, we got our 4 starting to roll in right now. Ethan, ask me 1 or 2 of your questions while we're just waiting for those to wrap up.
Oliver asked, I have 2 properties. I bought my second property last year. What type of loan can I use, or what type of house hack can I do to buy my 3rd property this year?
Oliver, I want to do a game plan with you, bro. I want to take a look at your 2 properties. I want to look at how you bought them. And I want to look at, is there equity on the first one that can be used? If not, then we need to use a different method. Also, I want to evaluate your real estate and just ask myself, is it going to perform enough, or should we swap it for something better? So we're playing the game of Monopoly, which is I buy properties and then I trade them for better properties, right? Great question.
Yeah. We have Damien's asking, would you sell a primary home with $175,000 of equity to buy multiple homes?
Would I sell my primary residence or refinance it or get a HELOC to pull out $175,000 to go buy 2 or 3 homes? Hell yeah. Like, yeah, that's the game we're talking about. Guys, if 1 home tastes good, 10 homes taste better. So trading 1 for 2 and 2 for 8, that's a really, really smart play. So 100%. All right. I think we created enough time for everyone to finish filling out the form. Good job for those of you that did that. You are all going to receive a free custom $1 million game plan of what I would do if I were you. All right. Wait for the end of the workshop and we'll do some game plans together. Next, I do want to talk about how we get to these ROIs. But before I do, I would like to do a little bit more Q&A. Let's just kind of pause and take inventory where we are for the night so far. I would say that we are probably halfway through our time together for those of you that are kind of gauging what that looks like. We've got another hour to go, but let's just drop some Q&A for just a minute. Jessica, by the way, is asking, where can I find the form? So Xavier, if you can drop the link again for livegameplan.com. And there you go. And then Ethan, go ahead and ask me your questions.
Yeah. Melanie's asking, what about foreclosed homes? I have bought 2 of them, and you can get them for much less than what the market is.
Yeah, I love foreclosed homes. Fix and flippers, getting discounts, and you're going to start seeing foreclosed properties again. We haven't seen them for years. After 2008, we had a ton of them, but we have such an inventory problem that there's not a lot of foreclosures out there. So I'm glad you bought those 2. That's one of 17 methods that I use for buying really good deals.
JM is asking, if the market is strong, why would you ever sell?
JM, if the market is strong, technically we would sell for a couple of reasons. When I buy real estate in one market, so remember, I only buy in the top 5 markets. There's 324 markets. And I'm going to buy in the markets that are going to appreciate the most and give me the most cash flow. I'm only going to be in that market for 5 to 7 years. I'm going to plant my flag, going to buy real estate at a low price, and over the next 5 to 7 years, it's going to go up. What am I going to do? I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to trade for more. So why would you sell a good appreciating asset? Because at some point, it has so much equity, you want to trade it for 2 or 3. Remember, if 1 home tastes good, 2 homes taste twice as good, 3 homes taste 3 times as good. If 1 home makes you $100,000, how many homes do you need to buy to become a millionaire? 10. So we're always, every 5 or 7 years, going to trade what you got for more and newer and better. Great question.
Yeah, iPhone's asking, is it possible to do what you're doing in California with crazy prices?
So no, I only invest in the top 5 markets, and I can tell you that California is at the very bottom of my list, like New York. There are 324 markets, and I only buy in the top 5, and I'll talk more about some of those tonight. Great question.
Awesome. Let's see. Jessica's saying it's the depreciation part she's still not understanding.
Yeah, Jessica, we might have to do some one-on-one on that, because I spend as much time on that as I really want to. But let me do it one more time a different way that might be useful. I'm pulling up a calculator, and if you guys have a phone, I recommend you do the same. My calculator looks like this. Yours probably does too. I want you to type in the value of your home. Let's say mine is a $400,000 home. I'm going to put $400,000 in there, and I'm going to divide it by 27.5. My number shows $14,500. What does your number show? Drop it in the chat. And here's what it means. You get to write off $14,500 against your income. If that's positive cash flow, what I'm saying is on your next $14,000 of income, you don't owe any taxes on it. Jennifer, that's what it means. It means that, and by the way, now imagine you do that on many properties. Imagine you own millions of dollars in real estate. You get huge write-offs. By the way, Brian is asking, Jennifer, I hope that made sense, by the way. Jennifer, sorry, real quick. Brian was asking if I invest in multifamily. And Brian, I do not invest in multifamily because multifamily produces on average a 20 to 30% ROI, and my average is 60%. So one of my rules of investing is I won't buy asset classes with lower ROIs in the same asset class if I have higher access to higher asset class. All right. Guys, we're going to go into our up next. We're going to save some more Q&A for the end because I love the questions that are coming in. Ethan is snapshotting them, saving them. We're going to hit them in our next Q&A session. By the way, Gage Levitt on my team is going through and looking at your game plans, and he's going to help find a couple that we're going to do a little bit later before the evening ends to give you guys an idea of what a game plan looks like. All right, so eyes on the screen. Can real estate produce an ROI of 25%? To earn 27 times more money? Well, let me show you how we do it. There are 4 ROIs on every single deal, and I'm going to show you them. Here's an example. This is a 2020 property. So it's new. It's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,600 square feet, and has a purchase price of $220,000. It has a mortgage of $1,200 a month and a rent of $1,600 a month. We're going to calculate the 4 ROIs. This is very easy to do. You can do this. 90% of you will be able to calculate an ROI in the next 10 minutes. Gross monthly cash flow. So remember, I'm collecting $1,600 a month. That's what the tenant pays, but my mortgage is $1,200 a month. So there's $400 left over. And then I need to remove my expenses. So I'm only netting, let's say, $200 a month on this, okay? I need to know what that is to calculate my first ROI, which is called cash on cash. Cash on cash is I put money out, how much is coming home? So take a look at this deal. I have $200 a month of net positive cash flow, and I get that for 12 months. So for the year, I'm making $2,400 on this small house. Well, how do I calculate ROI? Write this down. Gain divided by investment times 100 equals ROI. What's my gain? $2,400. What did I have to put out of pocket to buy this home? $50,000. Times it by 100, 4%. That's my cash on cash. So there are 4 ROIs. This is the first one. This ROI represents the money you get back in the form of moolah. It's very important. So it's 4%. Here's the second one. It's called principal reduction. My tenants are going to pay off my house. I buy houses for other people to buy me. Do you guys get that? I buy houses to put tenants so that the tenants buy me my house. I love having tenants because they're going to pay down the principal and there's an ROI on that. And on average, for any house under $300,000, that ROI is on average 5%. Now I want to pause. Eyes on me for just a second. Here's what I just told you. The positive cash flow is 4%. The principal reduction is a static 5%. That's 9% so far of getting us up to 25%, right? If you're following me so far, drop a 2 in the chat. If you're totally lost, give me a 4. That way I can just kind of gauge where we're at right now. I just want to make sure. So I got Wade Woo's like, Kris, I'm following you. Jessica's following me. Steve's following me. Sam's following me. Steve, you did it, bro. Guys, Steve did it. He gave me a 2. Terrence has got a 2. We got mostly 2s coming in the chat. Jessica's a 4. So it's okay. If math is not your forte, you definitely want to have a partner that can help you transact this real estate or break it down for you. I'll be your mentor that will do that for you when we do that free game plan. Here's the third ROI. Eyes on the screen. Depreciation. You're going to get a tax benefit, and we calculate it. I'm going to assume that you're in a 20% tax bracket. If you buy one of these homes and you depreciate it over 27 and a half years, on average, your ROI from tax savings will equal 3%. Now, you don't have to do math. That's a static number. I'm basically giving you the coefficient of essentially saying we're going to depreciate a property. Every one of those properties at 27 and a half. If you're in a 20% tax bracket, on average, you're going to get a 3% tax savings. So eyes back on me. Cash on cash for my cash flow, I have a 4% ROI. And then I have a principal reduction ROI of 5%. And I have a tax savings of 3%. So 4 plus 5 is 9, plus 3 is we're at 12% ROI right now. We're at 12. So I want you to think about that for just a second. Now we're going to do the final ROI. Eyes on screen. This one's important. Appreciation. We're going to say this is a $200,000 home. The market is growing at 5%. So first we have to say, well, what's 5% of $200,000? I'm pulling out my calculator and I'm saying $200,000 times 0.05 tells me it's $10,000. That's what 5% of $200,000 is. Then I want to know my ROI with it. So I'm going to take my gain every year of 10 grand. I'm going to divide it by my investment of 50 grand, times it by 100, and the answer is 20%. Here's the big picture, folks. Cash on cash is 4, principal reduction 5, depreciation 3, appreciation 20. That's 32% total ROI. By the way, what is my total ROI on average? I wanted to show you that we do deals all day long over 25%, but what's mine? 60%. I just gave you, thank you, Wade. I'm just giving you an example of 32% because I want you to know this. Even at 32%, that's making $12 million on a $50,000 investment over 20 years. Now, we just did a 10-year study of my ROIs of the last 2,400 homes. We are averaging 60%. Xavier's going to send all of you tonight an email with a copy of that. And that's just a gift from me to you that you can analyze, look at, and then understand, wow, of all the real estate strategies, there's 30 major ones. Kris says this one is the best in how you make the most money. All right, skip some of that. Up next, here's one of the next pieces that I want to cover, and then I want to talk about why I partner with people and how it works. Let me just pause though. Are we on the same page? Like, if you guys are loving the information tonight, will you guys put a 10 in the chat? And if it kind of sucks, will you put nothing in the chat? I mean, a 0 in the chat. Like, I hope we're liking it. CJ, you fat fingered the 0 button a whole bunch. Shane gave me a 10. Maria, Javon, PM, Desiree, Janice. You guys are super generous. Thank you. I'm glad that I have you here, and I'm glad that I get to be sharing this knowledge and information with you. I hope that you'll prize it. If some of you are wondering, Kris, we're only going to be done at the end of the hour. How can we possibly learn enough to change our lives and make millions of dollars? Is there anyone that's kind of curious about that, by the way? Like, drop a 4 in the chat if you're like, Kris, I want to implement. Like, learning is cool. I actually just want to make the money. And I always have some eager beavers out there. I told you I'm looking for maybe 10 more partners tonight. Ryan came in a little late, but you're okay, buddy. There's a lot of 4s coming through. So in about 5 minutes here, I am going to share with you how I can actually do all of this for you. I'll also share how you can do it on your own. Everyone tomorrow gets to meet with my team and gets a game plan. So I'm going to break it all down for you. Let's start with this, though. Why am I making 65%? Well, it's because I want to tell you how I came up with the best strategy. And eyes on me, it has to do with this book right here. So this is the first of 5 books that I've written. It's called The Straight Path to Real Estate Wealth. It's sold a lot of copies, and it's made a lot of millionaires. I was just at the airport a couple months ago. A guy came up to me and said, you don't know me, but I'm worth millions of dollars, and it's all because of this book. Thank you. I would like to give every one of you a copy of this book tonight, and let me tell you why you might want it. I compare the top 30 strategies in real estate. I made an argument of which one is best, and tonight I've been teaching it to you, but I'm going to give you the shortcut. Now, if you guys would appreciate a free copy of the book, just go ahead and drop a 1 in the chat. And if you drop a 1, I'll make sure that Ethan and Xavier will actually share that with you in the email, as well as the other track record. You guys, I'm happy to give it to you. And Xavier, why don't you also give them an access to like the audiobook as well? Because some people like to listen and some people like to read. We're just going to give you a digital version of it, but I'll see if we can also get you the audio. And Ethan, will you just ask Xavier if he's going to hate me for fulfilling that promise, because I'm dropping that on him, but I love these people. I want to help them out tonight. Guys, I'm going to give you a copy of this book. Here's why it's important. I want you to read it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the cheat code right now, and I'm going to explain something to you. This book is like 300 pages of which strategy is best. If you'd like me to just give you the 30-second answer right now, I'm going to give it to you. But it requires a little frame up, a little story time, okay? I had 2 real estate mentors. They had each made like over $10 million in real estate. And I'm mentoring with them. I'm a college kid. And I'm following them around. I'm looking at their deals. And individually, I ask them each this question. Hey, you're working on a flip. You're working on a land deal. You're working on going vertical. You're working on an apartment complex. Which strategy is best? And they said, it depends. And I said, what do you mean it depends? There's got to be a best strategy. Like, doesn't it make sense that if I am here in the city and I'm trying to get to an address and I have to walk, how many of you agree there's got to be a fastest way to get there? Just raise your hand if you're like, that makes sense. If you're trying to cross town, I bet there's a fastest way there, right? Well, in real estate, I was essentially asking which one is the fastest way. And they said, that's an unfair question. Like, why? They said, well, one strategy is risky and one strategy is passive and one strategy takes less time and one strategy is complex. And so I was like, well, how am I going to figure out which one is best? And you know what they said? You'd have to create some kind of crazy algorithm to figure it out. And you know what I did? I created a crazy algorithm. Here's what I put into the matrix. I said, I'm going to define best by 6 criteria. And if you agree with me, snapshot this. This book says out of 30 real estate strategies, which one of the 30 takes the least time, the least effort, the least risk, makes the most money, works in up and down markets, and provides a service to society. These 6 criteria that you're seeing on the screen right here, that's what I built my algorithm based on. And then I basically put it in. And what came out of the matrix was a singular strategy that said amongst the other 30, This one takes the least time, effort, and risk, makes the most money, works in up and down markets, and provides service. Would you like to know what it is? Here we go. Screenshot this one. This little slide you're looking at is worth millions of dollars to me based on what I learned in real estate. If you buy a single family home, at least 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, you buy it for 5 to 7 years on a short-term buy and hold. If you purchase it below the median, 30% below the median, with a 25% ROI, and you buy in the top 5 markets out of 324, you land on the highest money-making, least time, effort, and risk investment in the world of real estate. That's the answer. Just going to pause for a moment. I'm just expecting clapping or like, wow, this is so amazing. Just kidding. All right. Here's what it produces. Deals like this that produce these kind of ROIs, a 33% total ROI. So I just want to pause. The reason why I shared that with you is because I want you to understand this. Forbes says that the average real estate investor makes 10.4% every year on their money. We tell people how to, on their own, get 25%, and I'm getting 60%. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm investing in the top markets. And if you want to write them down, I'm going to give them to you right now. So eyes on me. I invest in Orlando, Florida, Memphis, Tennessee, Jonesboro, Arkansas. Those are the top 3 first. Oklahoma, Oklahoma City. And let me tell you something real quick about Memphis, because I want you to understand what makes a best market. It's macroeconomics. And tonight I'm not going to go into all of the different macroeconomics because it's in the report that I'm sending you. But the reason why I invest in those places is because of things like this. Ford puts an $11 billion electric vehicle plant in Blue Oval City right outside of Memphis and creates 11,000 new jobs, which means enough families need to move out there to add another 5,000 jobs. With adding 16,000 jobs, they now need 16,000 more homes. So I'm buying homes for 200 to 250,000. Guess what those homes are projected to be worth based on the surge of supply demand inverted over the next 5 years? Those will be $350,000 homes probably. So what I'm sharing with you is I go into the markets that have the highest rents or have the highest the highest appreciation. And that's my secret to making these high ROIs. Now, a lot of you earlier said that you want to know what real estate looks like in partnering with me. We're going to go over that, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A and maybe some game plans. So the reason why I partner with people, let's kind of get that out of the way first. Eyes on the screen. Eyes on me, Josh. In 2008, the real estate market fell apart. Not for me. I bought thousands of homes in Phoenix and Vegas. My investors made $100 million within 5 years. By 2013, they had made over $100 million. How did that happen? It happened because we knew how to do real estate and we had the right timing. And because I was able to do that, I made a promise to myself that I would learn how to scale my company, that I would find 10,000 real estate partners, and I would buy enough real estate to become a billionaire and collectively make my partners $1 billion. Well, I have 2,000 partners, and over the next decade, I'm going to be looking for 8,000 more. Right now, I only have enough capacity for about 10 to 20 more partners. And so tonight, if you want to partner with me, let me share with you why 2,000 other people are making millions of dollars with me. You have 3 options. You either do nothing and say, thank you for the knowledge, Kris. You buy real estate on your own, which is your prerogative, or you can partner with me 50-50 and invest in real estate with me. Let's talk about how it works if you partner with me. First of all, on the left side is what I do, and on the right side is what you do. Let's talk about your side. On your side, you provide funding for a down payment for a piece of property. It comes out of the equity in your home, savings, a 401k, or an IRA. And basically, you put up the money. That's what you're doing on the right, and you're a 50-50 partner of mine. On the left, I'm researching markets, finding the deals in those markets, buying the homes, managing the rehab, leasing the property, managing the property, doing the accounting, the taxes, selling the home, and multiplying the portfolio. That's what our partnership looks like, 50-50. I do all the work. You put up the dough. And most of my partners don't even have money. It's just coming out of equity or a 401k or an IRA. When we do this, eventually we're going to sell those properties and you get all your money back and then we split profits, or we just roll it into more and more and more real estate. So here's the 7 steps of why people partner with me and what happens. You're going to meet my team, and then we're going to find the best path to buy properties, going to review the game plan, get under contract, set up the LLC and bank account, purchase the home, and then do the management. I'm going to give you all the details that you need right now on what this looks like. So you're welcome to screenshot this, steal this information. First step is meet the team. You get access to my cell phone. I put you on a thread with me and my team, and we start with introductions, and then we start transacting, basically getting ready to buy real estate. Step 2, we find the best path to purchasing. Sometimes you're going to go through and use your credit and work with a bank. If your credit's not usable, I have a partner fund. Both are different ways of buying real estate. One requires credit, one does not require credit. You're going to turn in your paperwork. We're going to figure out what makes sense. Step 3, we're going to review your game plan. We're going to figure out how much money you need for a down payment, talk about how many homes that you can buy, or whether you're just starting with 1 or starting with 5. You're going to rent the home for 5 years, and then we're going to sell it and buy more, and sell it and buy more. Here's what it looks like. On the left, if we bought one property and it was only making 25%, which I've never done, it's so low, but this is good round numbers. I'm going to buy one home, and 5 years later, I'm going to sell it and trade it for 2. Why am I doing this? This is a light bulb moment, because I'm now earning 25% on each of the homes for a total of 50%. Wait, am I saying that I double my ROI when I double my portfolio? Yes, that's why we do it. The question was asked earlier, why would you ever sell a property if it was working? To trade it for more properties. So 5 years later, we take our 2 homes that are now making 50%, we trade them for 4 homes, and we're making 100. 5 years later, we sell those, do it again. 5 years later, we sell those, do that. After 20 years, we have 16 properties. We're earning 400% annual ROI. We're killing it. That's that $4.3 million. If it's my numbers, it's $12 million. It's about triple that. You're going to be sitting on probably closer to 50 properties. And I've shown you the math of how we do this, but that's how it works. All right. Step 4, now it's time to get under contract. We're going to go into our top 5 markets, going to go into our top cities, and we're basically going to look for the markets that have migration, business, affordability, median price, everything. Look for renters that make $60,000 a year because they produce very low default. We're going to buy a home. Could be a home like this that's making 35.5%. Could be this home in Winter Haven, producing 31.25%. Now, after we get under contract, we have to lower the fees to get a higher ROI. All right, I'm going to put that back up on the screen. So we lower the fees to get a higher ROI. Your down payment, your repair fees, your researcher fee, your bird dog fees, your legal fees, your property management initiation fees, your manager fees, your rehab fees, your accounting fees, your admin fees, they usually cost $12,000 to $15,000 on a property. I bring that all the way down to $5,000 to $7,000 of an acquisition fee. And the reason why I'm able to do that is because I'm able to basically, I've got 200 people that work on my team that do all of the work. So it's passive for you, and we just build it into the purchase price, and we keep these fees as low as possible. It's what boosts our ROI as high as you see them. All right, step 5. Now we're going to set up the LLC in the bank. We're going to set up the LLC. That's the business we own together that we're going to make a multi-million-dollar portfolio. I'm going to give you an operating agreement that I've been using with my partners for 15 years. You're going to sign it. We're going to set up a bank account. We're going to use that to collect rent, pay mortgages and bills. And then you're going to fill your SWAN account. Unless you're using the fund, you don't have to do that. But this is the Sleep Well at Night account to basically say, let's put $10,000 in the bank. And if we're going to add a second home, it's another 5, and a third home, another 5. And then the 6th step, we're going to purchase the property. 30 to 40 days later, we close. I send a notary to you that signs. You're going to go to your bank and wire the money. We're going to drop the property in the LLC, and we are done. We're ready for our next purchase, and now I'm here to do all of the management. I'm going to oversee the property managers. Usually it takes 3, 4, 5 weeks to rent a property. I got a full-fledged CFO team to do the accounting. It's $30 a month per property. And bottom line is we are done. We made it. We finished. Those are the 7 steps. Raise your hand if that makes sense. We're going to do some Q&A in just a second on this. BB and MB Zalb says yes. Oliver says fire. Xavier's giving, I think, me a high five. Guys, I also have a partner fund. We'll put this on the screen real quick. Sometimes I have a partner that can't use their credit. So we pull the money. I buy homes cash. We put a bunch of homes in it. It's even less work. It's even more profits. It's a proven system. I've done it for thousands of people, thousands of times. And now you've just got to ask, is this for you? Well, do you have money sitting in cash, 401k, IRA, or equity? Are you open-minded and teachable? Are you positive and mentally prepared? Are you a good communicator? Here's what I find most people think. This is kind of interesting. When people look at my 50-50 model, about 95% of them love it and 5% of them hate it. And I want to know which you are. This is really important. Ready? They look at the 50-50 and they're going to say one of two things. On the left side, they're going to say, what a ripoff. I put up all the money and Kris gets half the profits. And on the other side, people say, I'm putting up the money, but Kris and his team do 100% of the work. And so on the left side are your DIYers. These are people that say, I want to do it myself. I want to go to Home Depot, drive to Lowe's, talk to tenants. I want to be a landlord. And that's okay if that's you. You can go out and do this on your own. I'm catering to a group of people that say, hey, if you want something done right, work with the best in the business. And either's totally fine with me, but out of curiosity, how many of you are DIYers? Drop that in the chat. Or DFYers, which is done for yours. DFY or DIY? Let me just kind of see what we got here. Michael is a done for you. John is a done for you. Morgan doesn't have the time, and it's going to be a done for you. This is kind of, most of you are coming in as done for you. You can, by the way, you're allowed to be a do-it-yourselfer, but a lot of my partners, the value that I give them is I build a portfolio and they don't have to do it. And my ROIs are so huge, they can't compete with me. Now, I do have partners that have, I do think for just a minute, I want to introduce you to some people that are partners with me, because Jessica's and Cindy are like, well, it depends. Yes, you want to do some things on your own. That's perfect. Let me introduce you briefly to just some of my partners that have been doing some real estate with me. And Josh, if you want to just go ahead and roll video on that, let me just introduce you to a few of these people.
It's Brad in Florida.
I'm Consultation.
This is Mike from Pennsylvania.
My name is Julie Succo, and my husband Leandro and I have been Kris Krohn partners since attending our first event in Provo in January of 2020.
10 years ago, my wife and I decided to invest in real estate with Kris Krohn.
I've been following Kris Krohn for 9 years now.
I guess we got started with Kris a few years back.
My wife and I, we have partnered with Kris.
I came across Kris on YouTube back in June of 22 and decided to partner with him in August.
We partnered in March.
I'm one of Kris's more recent partners.
We had been interested in real estate investing for years, since 2014 to be exact, but we did not know where to start and we had a ton of questions.
Me and my brother purchased our first single family home year to date that has turned into a seven-figure business with over 13 homes in there.
The team was super supportive through the whole process.
Start to finish, absolutely phenomenal communication.
And they provide me with quarterly updates and annual portfolio reviews on all 5 of our properties.
Everybody knows their part. They do it professionally. They walk you right through all the steps.
They never pushed once for us to get in. They were just there when we had questions and ready to help and support us the whole way.
I've been introduced to people that have changed and impacted my life in multiple assets.
I can tell you that this year I am now on a run rate to double my income.
We currently own 3 properties with the Kris Krohn team, and they are cash flowing around $1,300 a month, and they have all increased in equity in the last 2.5 years by 20 to 50%, which is fantastic.
And the home that we bought with Kris, our first home, that one's already gone up in equity close to $10,000.
And after 3 years, I ended up selling that house and I walked away with $190,000.
Now I have 3 investment properties, 1 in Florida and 2 in Tennessee, and I'm under contract on my 4th, which is a lease option property that I learned through Kris's system.
So I have my day job and then my real estate continues to pay me.
If you're on the fence, if you're looking up to level up your life, If you want to build prosperity and wealth for your family, this is the guy to learn from.
You really just have to sit back and say yes. Yes to winning and yes to good real estate deals.
It's changed my life and the life of my family.
It seriously changes the entire outlook of my life.
Get out there and crush it.
All right, so hopefully that gave you a little bit of an understanding. Most of my partners, I just text them. I'm like, hey, can you just shoot me a quick video telling me what you think about partnering with me? And that's how I collected those. But I have a specific cell phone just for all my real estate partners, and this is just what we do all day long. And if you're wondering, geez, Kris, how do you manage so many partners? It's like I've got teams and I've got systems, and I love connecting with my partners. When I put on my events, I always put my partners on the front row because we get to high five and just celebrate our wins on all the real estate that we've bought. It's making me millions of dollars. It makes them millions of dollars. It totally makes sense. So what I want to do right now is I want to just go, I want to kind of end our night by talking a little bit about game plans. And we're going to do some Q&A in just a moment because I want to just kind of know what kind of questions are you guys having. But let me just pause for a moment. Can I get just some feedback on where we're at so far? Either drop a question or a comment in the chat. Take 10 seconds right now. Go to the chat, quick fingers, and let's just kind of look for the comments, Ethan. And then we're going to be saving the questions because we're going to do a very robust Q&A session at the end of this.
We got Ryan saying, hell yeah, Kris, I didn't know you had that montage. He loved that montage. And then Jackie's asking, can I do this if I only have 10K?
And Jackie, if you just go and do a game plan with my team, I'm going to show you your best options. If you only have 10,000, I'm going to be teaching you as your coach how to do real estate that doesn't require money. And so there's an option for you. It's different than partnering with me because what I'm going to do instead is show you how to do these deals. I've got Carson, one of my active students right now, that I'm showing how to do these no money down deals, and he's working on his active assignment right now.
Yeah, Jay's saying, let's roll, brother. CJ's saying, drain my savings for school. How much do I need to save up as a DIYer?
Yes, for a DIYer, if you have me as your coach and I'm showing you how to do the no money down deals, you can sometimes do a deal with nothing or sometimes with only like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, or $6,000. So if you're fresh out of college, be saving money, but get a mentor that will step-by-step walk you through how to do it. Because trust me, on your own, it's rare for anyone to read a handful of books and figure it out. You want to have someone walking you through it. I had my mentors made the world of a difference walking me through my first deals. I can do that for you as well. Morgan's also asking, how much do I need to partner with you? And Morgan, it depends, because I have some people that will just buy one house with me, and I have some people that will go and buy 10 houses with me right out of the gate. And so that's why when my team will do that custom game plan with you, they'll go through all the details of what it actually looks like for us to work together. The bigger thing is, are we a fit? Here's what I can tell you. If you buy a business that makes millions of dollars, you're going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for it just to start it. I don't do that here. My partners do have an upfront investment fee. It's very, very minimal. It's more about transacting real estate and getting our hands on doing the deal. So my team will run through that with you. And if we're a fit, trust me, you're going to want to do it. If we're not a fit, it just doesn't matter anyway. Really good question. Okay, let's do some more questions, Ethan. I love seeing where everyone's at here. Let's tackle some of these.
Yeah. Let's see here. iPhone's asking, if I withdraw from retirement, that will bring up my taxable income significantly for that year. Are many more homes needed for benefits, or what amount of cash is needed?
Well, first of all, let's clear that up. If you withdraw from your retirement account, are you going to have huge tax implications? Maybe, but maybe not. A lot of my people will not pull their money out of a 401k or an IRA. They'll self-direct it, which basically says I'm pulling it out of the market, but keeping it in the vehicle. And now I'm going to put it into real estate with Kris. There's no tax consequence on that. There's no penalty on that. So you save money when you do it that way. So that's one of the strategies and options that you do have.
Dory's asking, when they partner with you, are we splitting the monthly rent 50-50?
Good question, Dory. So we split everything 50-50, but I usually just let the money stay in the account and roll until you want a distribution, or we save it for the next deal. So those are shots that I let you call. I got enough deals and property that I just let you decide.
Karen's asking, I've had people approach me to sublease Airbnb for my property. Is this a good idea?
So if you have a property, some properties are good for Airbnb and some properties are not good for Airbnb. When we do our game plan, one of the things that we want to look at is how much equity do you have in the property. So if you can go to the response right now and go to the chat and just tell me how much equity is in the home. That will help me determine whether I want to Airbnb or not. And the other bigger thing that I want to really kind of put out here for you, Susan, is if any of you have enough equity in your home to buy 1, 2, or 3 properties, I'm going to already tell you, take that money out and go buy real estate. And I'll do some game plans in a moment to share why. Now, Gage, if you're around, I'd love to get some of those game plan documents so that I can do a couple of live game plans for people here. I'm going to actually share some slides that I got right now on game plans. So guys, let's put this on the screen. Let's say one of you sitting here and you got a $20,000 to $50,000, but you also have a credit glitch. Well, I can show you how to put money into real estate. I can show you how to buy that without using your credit at all. Thank you, Gage. And I can show you how to at least buy a property. And if that home produces $4.3 million over 20 years, you're going to be in a really great spot. So there's one example. Here's another one. Let's say you have $100,000 of home equity. You're like, okay, well, if you have home equity, we can get a home equity line of credit for free. We can use that to go buy 1 or 2 homes, and we can help turn that into $8.6 million over 20 years. So just take that in for just a second. Why would I use my home equity? Eyes on me. Why, Kris, would I tap into my home equity to go buy real estate? Isn't my mortgage going to go up? Yeah, but you're going to buy real estate with higher cash flow. It's going to cancel it out. Yeah, but Kris, I'm trying to pay off my house. I follow Dave Ramsey, and Dave Ramsey says pay your house off. I'm like, cool. Are you going to have enough money for retirement? Show me the math. And if the answer is no, and 99.9% of the time the answer is no, then don't do what doesn't work. Pull equity out of your house and then go use that to go buy real estate so that you have enough assets to retire the way you want. What would you rather have? A paid off house or $10 million? Here's a big one. I want you guys to go to the chat on this one. I'll give any of you right now $1 million cash. I'm going to send you $1 million, or I'll give you $10,000 of tax-free money every month for the rest of your life, growing at 5% per year. And also when you die, your children will keep getting it, growing at 5% every single year. And it'll never stop. So tell me right now, go to the chat. Do you want $1 million? Or do you want $10,000 of tax-free money every year growing at 5% every year for the rest of your life and families? Which do you want? Yeah, you're all smart. No one wants the $1 million. That's what we're doing here. We're buying real estate to produce cash flow as opposed to a paid-off house. The paid-off house is the $1 million. We want cash flow instead, because a paid-off house is a modicum of security, and a residual income for life, that's true security. That's financial freedom and independence. Here's the third game plan, eyes on the screen. Let's just say that someone has money in an IRA or 401k, $250,000. This was the question from the gentleman earlier. You got 2 options, option 1 or option 2. On the left, you can withdraw it, pay the taxes and penalties, and go buy 4 houses. Or option 2, you can self-direct it, avoid the tax and penalties, and go buy houses. And the 4 houses over 20 years has produced about $17 million. So that's a pretty good deal, right? Use your 401k and IRA, but you don't have to pay taxes on it. Here's a 4th one. Actually, let's just skip right here and get to, I want to go to the Q&A. Guys, I am going to do some live game plans. They've been, they're hot off the press. They've been handed to me. And I'm going to do some live game plans because I want to make this interesting. But let's go ahead and just start by answering a few more questions, Ethan.
Let's see here. Gabriel's asking an important question. He's saying, my accountant says that you have to qualify for a specific designation for you to be able to write off real estate losses against W-2 income. Can you clarify?
Yeah, so you're going to become what's called in time a real estate professional. And as a real estate professional, you can write off your passive income against your active income. And so your CPA is right. That gets quite a bit more complicated for what we're covering tonight. But if you partner with me, and I own thousands of partnerships and deals and homes, et cetera, and now we're going out to build a portfolio. Once we've built enough homes, you're going to reclassify as a real estate professional, right alongside with me, and then you're not going to have to worry about that rule. Good question.
Paul is asking, how important is physical proximity to the investment properties?
Not at all. No. If you're living in a world where you want the real estate in your city or in your backyard, you're already doing real estate wrong. Write this down. If you want to do it right, do not do it yourself. You want professionals to touch your real estate. You're a noob. You do not want to touch your real estate. It's very, very risky when you do it that way. That's my professional opinion.
Wafa Hammer, I've totally butchered that. If I partner with you, what would be my part of tasks or responsibilities?
So your responsibility is to put up the money. And then when we make big moves like buying and selling properties, I want you to weigh in. All the day-to-day details of the everything, I'm doing. You ever have a question? You just shoot me a text. All right. We're going to do a game plan in just a moment. Josh Garcia, I want you to see if Pierre is there, Pierre, and we're going to see if we can do a live game plan with Pierre. But we're going to do one more question while you're pulling them up.
This is a fantastic question. Khalid is asking, how could I learn to speak like a professional? Because I think 95% of any deal to get done is the way you speak and act.
Yeah. You're going to want to learn how to speak professional. You're going to want to know the terms. And frankly, it just comes down to script, practice, and confidence. So if you're going to do deals on your own, one of the things that I offer when you do that free game plan is talk to my team and say, can Kris be my coach and help me learn how to do real estate? And me and my team will teach you how to do that. I think it is really important to know how to speak. And until you really know how to do that and have a script and a coach to walk you through it, it can be really intimidating. Now, that's for if you're going to do it on your own. If you partner with me, then it's actually not very important because I'm just going to do that part for you. Great question. Okay, let's see if we got Pierre there for a game plan.
I'm here.
Pierre, how we doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for being on tonight. How are you enjoying our time together?
Appreciate it. A lot of wisdom. Thanks for what you're sharing.
Yeah, you're very, very welcome. Okay, so you're a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to do a game plan here with you, but to do that, I'm going to be revealing some of the sensitive financial information you submitted here. On the one hand, none of these people really know who you are, but they'll all get a chance to learn as I kind of put myself in your shoes and say, what would I do if I were you? Are you okay with that?
Okay, sure.
Okay, cool. So right now as a realtor, you're doing well. Looks like you're making around $250,000 a year. Is that right?
Last year, yeah.
Last year. And then right now in 401ks, IRAs, investments, it looks like you're having somewhere around, how much is that? Is that $700,000?
That's in my 401k.
That's in your 401k. And is that with your active employer?
No, I'm completely self-employed now. So as a former employer.
That's all from a past employment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm also seeing that you've got a house valued around $650,000 and you owe about half of that, $320,000. Is that right?
Right. And
then you also have about $1 million in other real estate investments. Is that right?
Yeah, I have a portfolio of about 6 properties.
6 properties. Hey, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you. Praise God.
I'm super happy for you.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
All right. So let me just kind of share with you some of the thoughts top of mind that I would be doing. If I was your real estate partner, the first thing that I would be doing is I would be evaluating your current portfolio. Now, you're a realtor, you're super knowledgeable, so chances are your portfolio is doing well. I don't know if it's doing 60% per annum well, but it's probably doing well, and it's worked well enough to go from 1 home to 2 home to 6 homes. So we would evaluate your portfolio and first just say, hey, which properties are performing well and are any underperforming that might be worth putting into better real estate? Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But then the second thing I would be doing is I'd be saying, okay, let's actually run some math here. Let's talk about this 401k. You have, just by way of example in that 401k, if you were to self-direct your 401k, you could use that $700,000 tax and penalty free to invest in real estate. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. We use some programs with banks that will allow you to use your self-directed funds. And right off the bat, you've got enough money in there to very, very comfortably buy 7 more homes. Now, these 7 homes that I'm talking about are producing that 60% annual return. And let's just remember a couple of things. Each home, if we just buy one over 20 years, based on a 32% average appreciation, what I'm averaging over the last decade, there's $12 million on each home. Now, we're partners and I'm doing all the work, so that would be $6 million for you and $6 million for me if we were partners, hypothetically. And since you have 7 of those, that's $36 million over the next 20 years as an opportunity cost of what you're otherwise doing with that 401k. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah. I mean, that would be phenomenal, actually. Phenomenal return.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that look at their 401ks and they're thinking, well, I'm just accumulating money so that when I retire, I can pull money out and live on it. And maybe in the market, I'm hoping to get my 4 or 5 or 6%. But once we start producing these ROIs that we're talking about, here's mentally the way I would look at it. Every home is worth $12 million in 20 years or $6 million to you. And let's just say for a moment that I'm not doing my 20-year average at 60%. Let's just say we're only doing 25%. That's still, to you, a little over $2 million, about $2.2 million per home. So if we buy 7 together, that's $14 million. So I'll give you a low and a high. On the low side, you're looking at $14 million in 20 years with your 401k. And on, not the high side, what I would say the average side, you're looking at $36 million. So a range of $14 to $36 million. And just to kind of help the average viewer understand what that means, to put it into comprehensible terms, let's just say we're right down the middle and that portfolio grows to $20 million for Pierre. Well, what does Pierre do in 20 years with $20 million? He owns $20 million worth of real estate. It should be producing in cash flow an average of 5% per year. That's kind of on the low side. So if I take 20 million and multiply it by 5%, I get $1 million. What does it mean? It means that Pierre's real estate is producing for him alone $1 million a year in passive tax-free income. Now, where that's good news is that's 4 times the money he made in real estate last year. It's fully passive and he's not working. And all of that is literally just coming from a 401k that's otherwise collecting dust. Pierre, does that make sense?
It makes sense. Sure.
So I would say that that's one option. We don't even need to, obviously you could get a home equity line of credit and buy 3 or 4 more homes, but you've already got 6 properties. I would say by evaluating the properties you do have and the new properties that you could buy potentially with your 401k, even though I'm showing you maximum that you could buy, no one's going to go out and do the max, but altogether in max, I'm seeing the ability for you to probably buy at least 10, 11 or 12 properties. So whether you buy 2 or 3 or 4 more or others, what I would really be doing is bringing you into the markets where we're getting these 60% annual returns, basically just supercharging your portfolio.
Okay, that makes sense.
Do you have any questions for me on that?
Yeah, sure. So when you talk about these purchases of these properties, let's say the 700,000 or whatever numbers you're using, what type of leverage are you using on the purchase of these properties? Like what percent are you putting down? And I assume you're still holding a mortgage or a note on these. You're not buying these cash.
No, we're doing a 20% down payment usually.
Okay.
Once in a while, we'll go 25%. It just depends on the situation and how much is available, but generally 20%.
Okay, even for an investment property, because typically they do often request a 25%.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the range that we're going to be in.
Okay, and then are you refinancing that at all? Or are you saying in 5 years you're selling that and then finding another property? Is that what
In
you're saying?
5 to 7 years, we're going to sell that property and trade it for 2 or 3 more. So the 7 homes that we're theoretically talking about now are probably going to be 17 to 21 homes in 5 years.
So you're selling it. You're assuming that the equity in those homes are going up significantly enough to pull enough equity out to buy multiple homes again? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. In the top markets where I buy, that's what happens. If I'm
Okay.
a little slow on my projections, we might be in that market for 7 years. In some of my markets, we're only there for 3 or 4 years.
Okay. And your numbers all include your property management and all of those other fees? Because obviously this is investing away from home, right? So there's...
Yeah. This is net. So this is the net of everything. And in our projections, we keep all of our numbers about 20 to 30% conservative. So when we look at vacancies, repairs, and things like that, all of that's taken into account. So that 60% is not a gross ROI. That is a net true return to the investor ROI.
I mean, those are impressive numbers.
Well, we've done it 6,500 times, so we better have gotten good at this, right?
Yeah, you obviously have a good system.
Yeah, we do. We have a great system. So, Pierre, any last questions for me?
No, that was helpful. Thank you. Appreciate
Guys,
it.
give it up for Pierre. Do me a favor. Put your hands together. Pierre's in a spot to freaking kill it and crush it, and he's done great with his career, and he's got a portfolio, and if he partners with me, we can go further, and Pierre can also do it on his own. All I'm trying to do is provide ease and maximum growth for people that want to have more focus in their life and tap into the higher ROIs. So very, very cool.
Thank you so much.
brother.
A privilege to talk to you. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. Okay, guys, let's do a little bit more Q&A next. So Ethan.
Yeah. And
by the way, real quick, I want to just see what questions do we have from you guys from what you learned from Pierre. He asked his questions. What questions do you want to ask? And as you guys are teeing those up in the chat right now, Pierre, I just want you to know that we've got from Ann and Michael and Jessica, you've gotten some congratulations and some clappy hands. So for the rest of you, here's what I would say. If your sheet, this is going to be really important. If your sheet indicates that you have $50,000 in a 401k, IRA, or home equity, then we can buy a property. And the goal in 20 years is to turn that into $12 million, 6 for you and 6 for me. That's the goal that we're talking about here. 6 million, and you might say, okay, Kris, what if I can just buy one home? What does $6 million give me by terms of cash flow in 20 years? The answer, around $300,000 that is government-free, tax-free money every single year. So there are several of you here that are in that situation. As I'm just kind of rummaging through this, you're in a great situation to buy, at least one home. Now, what if you don't have $50,000? Then when you get a call with my team tomorrow on Game Plan, I want you to steer the question different and say, hey, I don't have the money to invest with Kris as a partner, but I would like Kris to be my coach and show me how to do the no money down or the low money down real estate stuff. And then we can get started on what my book teaches, doing lease options, sandwich leases, wholesaling deals, and basically drumming up some quick cash, making a $20,000 here, a $40,000 on a flip. And then on the side, what you've basically built is enough money where now you can also invest passively. You've also learned the active game. So there's a way for everyone to prosper and move forward. Okay, what questions do we have, Ethan?
Awesome. And just asking, how are you determining when to sell, the 3 versus 7? Like, what factor do you use?
It depends on how the market performs. So because I'm in the best markets, let's take a look at Florida, one of my top 5 markets right now. This is my number 1 appreciation market. Florida's population is going to see an 18% increase over the next 5 years. Do you know what that does to the supply-demand curve? Guys, they need tens of thousands more houses. That's what's skyrocketing. Trump is going to keep bringing down the rates with the Federal Reserve, and as he does that, that's going to shoot the price up as well. Next decade is going to be a gold mine.
Awesome. Vonda is asking, do we split maintenance and repair costs?
Yeah, so think about it like this. It's a business. All the money that goes into it is going to cover the expenses, and then it has profit. We just split the profit. It's very, very simple. It's just like any business partnership. Yeah.
Let's see here. Can I only do this if I have 10K? You already answered that question.
Yep.
After selling within 5 years, when do you retain the property?
Well, when we sell the property, you've got 2 choices. We sell the property, like I've got this list of 50 homes I'm selling and listing right now. I'm going to make $110,000 on each one of them. Half's for my partner, half's for me. When we sell these homes, my partners, most of them are going to do this. Let's 1031 exchange that to avoid capital gains, and let's put that into 2 more properties. And in reality, it'll be 2 or 3. Why? Their original down payment will buy the next house, plus they have the gains that will buy 2 or 3 more. So now we have this, their portfolio is expanding. A handful of my partners will say, I want to do something different with my life. Let's just split our profits and separate. And that's okay too. I have a handful of partners that need to do that.
This is a good comment that kind of leads to an interesting question. Michael is asking, he's in pretty good shape. He's in pretty great shape. He is doing it on his own. Why is he interested in partnering with you? So why do people that are doing really well in real estate already partner with you?
I would say if someone's doing well in real estate, they don't need to partner with me. But let me tell you why some of them still choose to. You and I each have 168 hours a week. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I was talking to one of my private one-on-one students that I'm mentoring right now, and he makes $210,000 a year. And he wants to make $500,000 a year. He said, Kris, how do I get to $500,000 a year? I said, well, you have to stop doing everything alone because you don't know how to scale, because you don't trust people, and because you believe if you want something done right, you should do it yourself. I said, I got news for you. Most people that do it themselves can't crack $500,000. They make $100,000, maybe a couple $100,000, $500,000, and then they're stuck. Can they make $1 million on their own? No, very, very unlikely. Can they make millions on their own? They can't. At some point, you have to learn to scale. So, you have to ask yourself this. Do you want to be the person that works 80 hours a week, crushes it in real estate, but has no balance? Don't have time for the gym, not taking care of your body, not taking care of your honey, not taking care of your kids, not taking care of your relationship with God? Some people do that. I would say, though, that if you're like, no, Kris, I'm killing it in real estate. I work part-time. I have time for the gym. I take care of my body, take care of my family, and I feel perfect. It's like, then you don't need me. Now, there's a lot of people that say they're doing really well in real estate, but guess what happens when I look at their portfolio? I'm making 60%, and they're doing well as making 20%. Well, do you understand that compound interest? What was the difference between 25% and 32%? It's only a factor of 7%, 7 points more. But those 7 points triple your money from 4 million to 12 million. From 4 million to 12 million. So often what I'm doing is I'm giving my investors access to significantly higher ROIs. And then because it's turnkey, it's passive for them. Now, if you're a true DIYer and you're even asking the question, well, why don't I just do this on my own? Generally, you should. I don't recommend that you partner with me because if you're really kind of debating that, it means you're a DIYer. You'd come to me if you want scale, if you want top tier performance, and if you want to take your life and do other things with it.
Awesome. Fit Habilitation's asking, what are some of the risks of partnering? Are there ever times some homes go down in price and there are loss of profits? How do you work with people then to mitigate those risks and improve the portfolio?
What are the risks? Here's the big risks right now. Write them down. Number one, a tenant trashes the house. It's not likely because most of my homes are brand new. My tenants make $60,000 to $100,000 a year. So where you typically get a problem with real estate is when you're on the wrong side of the railroad tracks, the wrong side of town, you're investing in a really old home that has a lot of problems, or you get the wrong kind of tenant. We're professionals, so we just almost never see that whatsoever. So that's the first risk that we're talking about. The second risk is you, which is your mindset. So I had this partnership came in, I don't know, it was a decade ago. We had bought 2 homes in Phoenix. They were kind of an older couple nearing retirement. And they had owned their homes for 3 years. And they said, Kris, we're so nervous. We're just used to not having debt. And I said, well, guys, what's going on? Is our real estate performing? They're like, oh, yeah. We've made like $150,000 on these 2 homes in the last 2.5, 3 years. Like, we're doing great. Well, what about the cash flow? Oh, we got making $750 a month. We're really happy. I'm like, well, is there anything going wrong? Well, no, but we're just worried because we're Dave Ramsey-ites and we just don't believe in debt. I'm like, cool. Let me buy these 2 homes off of you. Let me take them off your hands and let's separate. And they said, no. This is working out really well. I said, then make a choice. You either are going to get comfortable with leverage and make money, or you're not and you won't. Like, just make a choice on where you're going to be. So I think it's just important to realize that once in a while, I have to deal with partners that have really shitty mindsets, like difficult human beings. It's because they're negative Nancys, they're Karens, they're Chads, and all day long, they've just cultivated a really negative mindset. My team, when we decide who to partner with, tries to ferret those people out so I never have to deal with them. But once in a while, they make it through. And it's just like we buy a bunch of homes, we're making a lot of money. And I got this one guy, we bought 5 homes together. We've made $500,000, but every other day, he's like texting and whining and complaining. And it's just a lifestyle for him. And so I don't enjoy partners like that. So I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. The biggest risk is the no-namer. I get millions of views every single week, and my reputation is all online. So people get to know who I am. I don't really get to know who you are. Once we're partners for 6 to 12 months, I'll have a really good idea who you are as a person. But I would say that generally you're the bigger risk. And in my situation, what happens if the market goes down? I just rent the property and keep making money. What happens if the property goes down? It generally doesn't in our price range. Doesn't mean it can't. What if the property goes down? For the next 9 years, if we built maximum homes for 9 years, we would barely get ourselves out of the situation that we're in. So the next decade is going to be really hot for the game of real estate. So there's not downsides that we haven't mitigated. Great question. Guys, we are almost at top of the hour. We're going to do one more question, and then the rest of you that submitted game plans, my team will be texting you tonight, tomorrow. We're going to get these game plans to you. We're going to share with you what would Kris Krohn do. They'll also explain how partnering works. And guys, I'm looking for about 10 more partners. We've had a great number of people on here this evening, but the first 10 that come on, I'm going to partner with you. We're going to buy real estate. We're going to build a multi-million-dollar real estate business. The rest of you, go forth and conquer. The freebies, my book that we're going to send out with a track record, consume it, read it. Go do real estate on your own if you're a DIYer. If you know you're not, then partner with the best or go find someone else maybe locally for you. And either way, I'm happy for it. And I'm glad that you spent the time with me tonight. Final question.
Yeah, and this is an important question. I think everyone's asking this question. Morgan's wondering, does this mean if we don't buy now that it will be harder to buy in the future? What's the difference between buying now and waiting and buying later?
When was the best time to plant an oak tree? 20 years ago. When is the next best time? Today. So here's the truth about real estate. I've been buying real estate for 23 years, and every day that I own real estate, I get richer. So if you're like, well, maybe I want to do it next year. Cool. Just lose money. Because the reality is I've presented to you a long game, not a short game. We're not talking flips. We're not talking wholesaling. We're talking about owning real estate. And so if you're in a position to go buy 3 homes now and you wait 2 years and don't, dude, I get that phone call all the time. I literally have partners that are like, dude, I looked at this 3 years ago and I didn't, but now I want to. And I'm like, cool. Like, my guess is you probably lost, you wanted to buy 3 homes, you probably lost $200,000. And that's okay. That's just, everyone at some point has to learn the opportunity cost of doing nothing. Indecision will always cost you a whole lot more than bad decisions. So go to God, get on your knees, and if it feels right, then do it. Am I saying it's not available next week or next year? I'm not saying that. I'll always be looking for partners when I open the doors for them. My doors are open now because I just opened a new market and I've got 26 deals. And so I'm opening up those doors for just the partners that are saying timing is right for me right now.
Yeah, so Dory's asking, how do I become a partner?
So Dory, you're going to get a phone call or text from my team if you filled a game plan. In fact, let's have everyone do this real quick. One more time, Xavier, drop it in the chat. Guys, if you didn't go to livegameplan.com and take 3 minutes to answer 10 questions, I will not be contacting you and I will not be giving you a Kris Krohn approved game plan. For those of you that did, my team is going to reach out to you. They're going to contact you and say, all right, let's evaluate where you're at. Let's do your game plan. And then they'll also answer, well, how does partnering work? And if it looks like we're a good fit, partner with me and let's crush it together. Guys, thank you so much for being with me tonight. I really appreciate you. You brought great energy, really great questions. We didn't have a single troll online. You guys are really amazing, serious. And I wish you the very best of luck. I pray, just want to pray over you right now. I pray in the name of Jesus Christ that God will bless you in your personal lives, that he'll bless your businesses, that he'll bless your W-2s and bless you in this unstable economy with the opportunities that feel right. And I pray that God will inspire you and lead you to the things in your life that you need to do. I pray health upon you and upon your families, and that ultimately the final destiny and mission and purpose of your life be met, because we are here for a purpose, God. We pray that we can have that revealed to us, that we can live that. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. I love you guys. See you later.